Yeah, but I just want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, double honors to the Apostle Els, great millstone that rule well. Salutations to the Akim, teaching the word of spirit and truth. And blessings to the elect, to the one fed Israelites scattered worldwide, please be saved. Now comes another lesson. And basically, in America, in Florida and other places, they're trying to rewrite history, pretend that slavery wasn't bad, putting it into legislation, etc. And these are all practices of the devil. That's why I just don't understand. Well, I do understand why you coconuts love them so much. Alright, let's play this anyway.
And now let's move from drilling a hole in the planet to, metaphorically, drilling a hole in one's brain. Because that's what education in the US state of Florida is beginning to sound like. It's the home state of the two top Republican presidential candidates, former US President Donald Trump, who moved there a few years ago, and Ron DeSantis, who's also the governor of Florida. Now, DeSantis is on the war path against common sense, it seems. I say this because of the state's new school curriculum and how the history of slavery will be taught in the US now. In Florida, teachers will have to teach students about the supposed benefits of slavery. Yes, benefits of slavery.
Wow.
And how it helps slaves. We're not making this up. Here's a report.
Florida Governor and U.S. Republican Party presidential candidate Ron DeSantis had once said, "Florida is where woke goes to die." But it seems like common sense is also meeting the same fate. And not just common sense, educational honesty and your conscience as well. Here's why. What do you usually think about when someone mentions slavery in the US? Millions of people from Africa forcibly brought to American shores. People brought in chains to work on plantations owned by white colonizers. Millions of deaths, rapes, and crimes against humanity. How people were robbed of their humanity and how they became the property of colonists. That's what actually happened. But according to Florida's Board of Education, it's not enough to know that and understand the horrors of slavery. No, they think you should also know about slavery's not often discussed benefits. They want students to know about, and I quote, how slaves developed skills which, in some instances, could be applied for their personal benefit. We're not making this up. That's a part of the state's new curriculum. It's part of the section describing the work slaves did. You know, the unpaid labor they were forced to do under the threat of beating, starvation, and death. Things like picking cotton in the scorching sun, or being forced to build a plantation owner's house, or sweep the colonists' floors while they made a fortune on the backs of slave labor. Yes, Florida wants its students to know how all of these atrocities were skill development programs for the slaves. They apparently want students to get the full picture. Let's think about this from the perspective of an Indian urban legend. The Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan allegedly chopped off the hands of the workers who built the iconic Taj Mahal. The myth goes that this was to stop them building anything as beautiful ever again. It's a legend that's used to highlight the horrors of unchecked power. Now imagine if someone narrating this story then went on to describe how the laborers also benefited from the act. That cutting off their hands led to them learning to write with their feet, or with quills in their mouths. How it forced the laborers to develop a unique new skill that may have been used elsewhere. Does that not sound absurd and ridiculous, and downright disrespectful to those who have suffered? Which begs the question, what is Florida trying to do? There's also more in the new curriculum which seems like the state trying to justify slavery. The curriculum says students need to learn about slavery in other parts of the world. It talks about slave markets in Muslim countries, slavery in the Americas before European colonization, and even slavery in Asia. The Asian portion specifically mentions a law code from 4,000 years ago and the Indian caste system. All of this will go into showing students that slavery wasn't just an American phenomenon, which it wasn't. Slavery has existed throughout human history.
That's true, but what's the word? it was the most brutal slave trade, and it was slavery in ships. All right, slavery in ships. That's the difference. 3 months being on a slave ship. Women were getting raped on the slave ship. Boys molested. In there's a port, I think it's in Ghana, where it has a port there, and it has a Church of England church. So these slavers were going to church and praying, all right, when they were enslaving our ancestors, all right. Deuteronomy 28:68, and the Lord will bring thee into Egypt. The word Egypt means bondage, all right. Again in ships. By the way I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold to your enemies. All right. So your enemy is not gonna teach the truth about history. He's gonna falsify it. He's gonna what's the word? He's gonna lie about it and make out it wasn't that bad. All right. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman, slave man, and slave woman, and no one will buy you. I mean, no one will redeem you. When you buy something from a shop, you redeem it for yourself. So no one's going to save us out of that slavery. All right. So did that not happen? But they're trying to actually change all of this in the textbooks, man. You know? And it was the worst slave trade. It says none has been done unto Israel, man. So that's in the book of Daniel. Yep. So you can't compare it with any other one. Alright, Daniel 9:12. He hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us. This is the Lord. And against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. That was slavery, Jim Crow, etc. For under the whole heaven have not been done as has been done unto Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is a people, all right, before it's a place, which is us, the 12 tribes. Native Americans went into slavery as well, in ships as well. They've tried to hide that. Indian slave trade. But it wasn't lucrative as us, because the Gadites were dying off in record numbers. You know, because these crackers had diseases, man. Alright, see, this is a book, The Indian Slave Trade, and it got a 2003 winner of the Bancroft Prize. You know, because they've tried to hide it again. But the Lord is not going to allow you to hide anything, because Luke 12:2, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Alright? So they went into slavery as well. Alright? Same with some of the the other northern tribes, the so-called Latinos. They went into slavery in ships as well. Christopher Columbus took many of them back to Spain and paraded them in front of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Okay? So it's wickedness of them passing laws and stuff like that. Let's continue.
It's a fact. But to indulge in the kind of whataboutery Florida wants to peddle is to deny the sheer scale of the transatlantic slave trade.
That's it.
It's an insult to the memories of the millions who lost their lives as slaves. So why is Florida doing this? The simple answer is politics. It seems Ron DeSantis wants to take a leaf out of North Korea's book. Brainwash children by teaching them a warped version of history. Remove their capacity for critical thinking by feeding them sanitized and incomplete information. With about 86% of Florida's students subjected to this curriculum in public schools, DeSantis may just succeed in muddying the waters of history and the minds of children.
He won't succeed. Alright? And the reason why they're doing it is because of the prophecy that's in Obadiah. Obadiah 1:10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, because they're from Esau, we're from Jacob. Alright? Shame shall cover thee. Shame shall cover thee. It's shameful to be molesting little boys. The highest priced slaves were young boys. They had pedophile plantations. Little boys and little girls being sold to wicked crackers. Alright? And thou shalt be cut off forever. And they will be cut off forever once they serve their sentence of slavery under us. Okay? Now, they're trying to rewrite history or sanitize history. But history is very important. My mum doesn't think so. But, poor, she's colonial, she raised in Sierra Leone in a pre-colonial, in a post-colonial era, so obviously she's brainwashed, man. And you can't put new wine in old bottles, man. Alright? And this madness, they're trying to equate that we've been there from 1619. That's when the first slaves hit America. No, there were slaves taken to America way before that. Alright? The 400-year prophecy is in this 1619 to 2019, the year of return. That was all propagated by black Freemasons, man. Alright? And I've done a video on black Freemasons as well. Alright? Let me show you. And I shouldn't call them Freemasons, just call them coconuts, man. Black sellouts, coconuts, there you go. They're the ones that propagated 1619. And there's so many of them. Like these jokers here, man. There's people in so-called in its truth that are propagating lies. Alright? That whole 400 years is about us in Egypt. Alright? Genesis 15 and 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that's not theirs, which was Egypt, Mizraim it was called, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Alright? So 1619, 2019 is just a black Freemason madness. Okay? Slaves were going to America way before that. Remember, we fell in Spain at the end of the 1400s. Many of them were shipped in the early 1500s to America. Alright? So they're trying to sanitize history, they're trying to whitewash history, which they've done already. But for example, let me show you here. Alright, this one of the good channels, websites to know your real history is this one. It's called Nairaland. I'll put a link in the description box, which shows about before slavery. This is the kind of history they're not going to teach. They're not going to teach that. I mean, this is in Italy, and this is a coat of arms that our people used to have, because we were the rulers there. Okay. See, rulers. So I'll put a link in the description box. Alright, for this website as well. And they've basically just whitewashed history. Let me show you. Because at the end of the day, it's really important to know your history, man. Alright? And this is a article I saw, alright, online years ago, but The Guardian, which is a major newspaper over here, Tudor English and black and not a slave in sight. And this is a book by Miranda Koofman, who's a historian. And you see all the black trumpeters. And in the 1300s, we had a plague, a pandemic that wiped out half of the population of England. So that's when we allowed these crackers, to fill positions. And that plague kept coming back and back and back. And it was only killing our people. So that was the Lord saying, listen, your time for ruling is up. Alright? And I'll put a link in the description box for that. But she's got a book called The Black Tudors. Let me see. I can show it to you. There you go. The Black Tudors, the untold story, and all the Tudors were black. All right. There's also this one, which I need to get. The Negro rulers of Scotland and the British Isles. That's another history I'm going to teach you. You see. All right. And the reviews are excellent, and people are lapping it up, and that's what the Lord wants. The Lord wants our people to, search and inquire, of the former age, man. All right. I think is it Job? I think it's Job 8:8. I think Job. So history is important, okay. And the only so-called blacks, Israelites, that say history is not important, you know what? They're black people, because black means void of light. All right. So Job 8:8, for inquire, I pray thee, of the former age. All right, former age, your history, and prepare thyself to the search of thy fathers. Okay, the search of thy fathers. So that means going back into history. So that's a good book to get as well. The Negro rulers of Scotland and the British Isles. Okay, because it's something that our people need, because they go into these different subcultures that are quite negative, and the reason why they do that is because they have no confidence, because they only think they've been slaves and that's it. So they've already destroyed the previous generations. They're trying to destroy the ones that are coming up. All right. And they're liars. They've just whitewashed the majority of our history. We know, for example, I'll put a link in the description box of this one as well. 15 facts about the Moors, black kings and queens who ruled and civilized Europe, and it needed civilizing after them white Romans had it. Okay. There's loads of infamous Saint Maurice, and they've tried to, what's it called? They've tried to whitewash all these things. If you put when blacks ruled Europe, the one thing that you'll see, you click on images on this devil, is that they've whitewashed images. For example, the Habsburgs, who were the German nobility. There you go. Look at what they've done. They're trying to say that this thing on the right is one of the Habsburg rulers, which is bullshit. More bullshit. Whitewashing. More bullshit. Whitewashing. It goes on and on and on. And these people are not slaves. They're rulers. But why is it that there's pictures of white King James and black King James, Henry VIII being a white ginger man? It's because they've done exactly what the Lord has programmed them to do. Alright? He programmed them to be the devil, the deceiver, and that's what they're doing. Alright? That's his job. Job 9:24. The earth is given into what? The hand of the wicked. The Lord gave them that. So when the Lord gave them the earth, he gave them our history. And what did they do? First Maccabees 3:48. And laid open the book of the law, which is the Bible, wherein the heathen, non-Israelites, mainly crackers, sought to paint the likenesses of their images. See? Of their images. And that's why you see all these what's it called? These whitewashed pictures. Like this is supposed Henry Darnley. This is King James's father. But they're trying to say that this pasty thing on the right is his father. Oh, this devil. Oh, gosh. And if you don't believe that this man's the devil, don't worry. You'll know. But look at all the images, the dark images. And what does it match? It matches the people of the Bible. Songs of Solomon 1 and 5. I am black, but comely. Comely means what? Beautiful. So King Solomon said, I'm black but beautiful, O ye daughters of Jerusalem. Alright? Songs of Solomon 1 and 5. Color is in the Bible, so it matters. Alright? Let's look at Jeremiah 8. Alright, and 21. Okay. For the hurt of the daughter of my people, I am hurt. I am black. Astonishment have taken hold of me. So the people in the Bible match. Alright. The people that are in these images. Black. Israelites, man. So we are the people of the Bible. They know that. That's why they're doing all of this skullduggery. Alright? And they're going to pay for all of this skullduggery. Alright? They've been exposed already. And they're going to keep being exposed through the power and spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. And what is bringing this empire down? Something called truth. Alright? Truth. Deuteronomy 33 and 29. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord. Alright? The shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency. And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee. They're lying about history, lying about how great slavery was, how we benefited. You know, that's why there's no mercy for them, man. And thou shalt tread upon their high places. Right, because we're at the bottom now, but when Yahushua comes back, the ones of us that make it, the elect, the 1/3, we're going to be at the top. And everything they've got is going to be given unto us. So how about that, man? And for all those that say, oh no, we need to leave that, that's in the past, God forgives them. Nope. That's not the case. Alright? You've just given up because you're a coconut. That's why. Alright? Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. That which has been is now. So what happened back then affects us now. And that which is to be have already been. And God requires that which is past. So he requires that from them. And we're going to get that, man. Alright? We're going to get that. We're talking about destroying people mentally. Physical illness and mental illness. Which one is worse? Mental, man. Okay? Alright? And that's why they got a judgment coming for them, man. Alright? And you know that on that clip it said history will repeat itself. It will. It will. But it'll be the other way around. In Revelation 13 and 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Who led us in captivity? They did. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Who did that? They did. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So patience means to suffer, and faith is something that we hope for, but we have no evidence of. Alright? And who are the saints? Psalms 148 and 14. Saints and Israelites. Alright? So all of these things, and I'll put a few links in the description box. This one's a very good website, etc. But it says resist the devil and he will flee. Resist his bullshit. And I remember there was a quote from Malcolm X. He said, only a fool will let his enemy teach his children. And he's right, man. Alright? You have to teach. We have to teach our children our history. Alright? And most of all, these laws, statutes, and commandments, this truth. Alright? Ecclesiasticus 30:3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. Alright? So if you teach your son or your daughter about Heavenly Father, his son, law, statute, commandments, why we're in this mess, alright, it grieves the enemy. And that's the reason why we stand in great boldness in front of the enemy when we're out in the street. And before his friends, he shall rejoice of him. Alright? So, at the end of the day, that's what your enemy is supposed to do. He's supposed to ground you down to powder. Alright? Stay in his truth. And really, it's only the Lord that can keep us in his truth. Pray you stay in his truth, because there's so many sellouts in our nation. So there's very few of our people that will stand tall for the truth. And number one, for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Alright? So we'll give all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and double honors to the Apostle El's great millstone of the well. Salutations to the Akim, who are teaching the word in sincerity and in truth. And blessings to the elect and 1/3 of the Israelites scattered worldwide. Please be saved. Stay strong, stay in the Lord. Shalom.